Is this something that looks like fun? Flying open cockpit in a light sport aircraft? Well, stay tuned to hear about my experience with transition training in a Quad City Challenger 2. Leading Edge presents Flying Adventure. Inspirational stories. Ministry and missions. Aviator training. Epic achievements. And just plain fun. Hello and welcome to Leading Edge. My handle on this channel is Brother D. I'm a private pilot and I hold a rating for Certified Flight Instructor Powered Parachute, though at the making of this video, I am not currently active as an instructor. I got into aviation primarily for fun. Ever since I was a child, I was drawn to ultralights, especially two-seater ultralights, what are sometimes called fat ultralights, that now fall under the category of experimental light sport. For a number of years, I've been flying both Cessnas and powered parachutes, but the most fun I've ever had among the two is a powered parachute as their open cockpit. I love flying open cockpit, but powered parachutes are so susceptible to wind that it's really hard to find the time in which to fly them. And so a couple of years ago, I bought a Cessna 150 so I could fly more frequently. But there are a couple of things that made it a miserable experience. Number one was the high maintenance cost. And number two was in the summertime, it was so hot inside the airplane. You felt like you were in a sardine can and felt like you were trapped as well because of the tinted windows. It just wasn't the same as that open cockpit experience. Since that time, I've come to realize I need an experimental open cockpit airplane, or at least one that you can remove the doors from in the summertime or maybe push back the canopy. Well, I recently saw a Quad City Challenger 2 located about 20 miles from my house. And so I went to look at it and it seemed like a good fit, but there were two huge problems. Number one, I had never flown one before, and number two, I can't find hangar space. Now, this video is dedicated to the problem of learning how to fly one. I looked around for an instructor, and the closest one I could find near Kentucky was 520 miles away in Dawson, Georgia. Well, I was bound and determined to learn how to fly a Challenger, and so I booked my training with Murray of Murray Aviation Services. This video is not a detailed step-by-step play of my flight training. It's just a summary of my experience with a bit of a consumer review. So Mark was very welcoming and friendly when I arrived, and he took the time to listen, to show he cared. He took the time to answer any questions I had about flight training and ownership and even maintenance of a Challenger. So let's take a look at some video clips of my training experience as I make some comments.
All right, fuel pump off. I'll do the start, clear prop.
Clear prop. We start out with Mark getting me situated in the plane, explaining the startup procedures. He then guides me in turning on the master switch, radios, fuel pump, etc., and walking me through the actual startup and warm-up of the engine. Here, we're doing the run-up out on the ramp. Mark still in control, explaining each step. We check the flight controls, throttle the RPM to about 3,400, check the temps, and do a mag check. Then, we're ready to taxi. After taxi, we get lined up for takeoff, throttle up for a few more checks, and then we depart. Mark does the first takeoff to demonstrate how the aircraft performs. He's warned me ahead of time that it's kind of squirrely, kind of like a tailwheel aircraft, requiring true stick and rudder skills. Another thing I want to mention is that Mark makes all the radio calls, allowing the student to focus solely on flying the airplane. Mark soon lets me take over flying. I was pretty nervous beforehand, thinking I would be all over the place. But when I took the controls, it felt like a tailwheel aircraft. I got a tailwheel endorsement back in 2017, and I have around 10 hours in an Araka Champ from way back then. But somehow that muscle memory came right back. Mark tells me it was apparently some good preparation for the Challenger. If you have a lot of Cessna time or other tricycle gear, heavier type GA aircraft, then the Challenger is, well, challenging. But if you have some tailwheel time and something like a Piper Cub or a Champ, then you'll be ahead of the game. We then came back in for a landing. My GoPro batteries had died by this point, so there's only the outside view of the landing from a cell phone camera. After our evening training session, Mark was kind enough to take my eldest daughter for a flight. She loves flying, especially open cockpit like the powered parachute. Though not an open cockpit airplane, she does have some Cessna 172 flight training under her belt. In this clip, you can see the happy camper as they're rolling back to the hangar. Mark asked her afterwards what she thought about it, and she said she loved it. Open cockpit flying is the best, as you can see so much more and experience the freedom of the wind in your hair. The next morning, Mark had me meet up late. He wanted me to experience flying and landing in gusty conditions. Here, I was experimenting with a chest-mounted device for my GoPro, like mountain bikers use. I was hoping to catch a first-person view of the instruments. The downside is that the camera self-adjusted to focus more on the cockpit than the outside surroundings. But back to the experience. If I recall correctly, around 11 a.m. the wind was blowing at 10 knots. The thermals were kicking up pretty good. You can probably see from the clip how I was getting knocked around. I made 3 takeoffs and landings that morning. Mark said I did a good job. And here you can see one of those landings. Overall, I had a great time, and I feel well prepared to go out and fly a Challenger on my own. Mark is an excellent instructor. In no way did I ever feel intimidated or belittled. His instruction, his training was both fun and encouraging, and he was just great to work with. The only downside of my training was that my back hurt for 5 days afterwards. And that really had nothing to do with the training. It just had something to do with the inherent nature or the construction of the Quad City Challengers. They just have really uncomfortable front seats. And if I buy one, that's just something I'm gonna have to deal with. I should let you in on a little dilemma before I close. Over the past month, I have been desperately searching for a hangar with no luck. So even though there's one for sale at a really good price about 20 miles away, and even though I now know how to fly one, I'm stuck. I'm at an impasse. If you got something out of this video, please like it. And also please subscribe to this channel. Anyhow, I'm gonna be signing off for now. So be sure to get out there in the skies, have some amazing adventures, be safe, and God bless.